Right, good evening. You didn't expect to hear me, did you? Oh, Dom's missing. No, he's not. He's not missing. So you people who've gathered, just give him a minute or two. His computer just kind of went, let me get his words right. Because I'm terrible at misquoting people. I think it was, the technical term was tits up. I think it must be a term, a Linux term. So yeah, his PC's gone tits up. Anyway, he's sorted that out, so he'll be back with us in a few moments. Excuse me. Don't know what to talk about to you, really, because I've just been dropped right in it. I can tell you that Dom's guest is ill. We have got Wanderer, who's going to be joining Dom and a few of us tonight, and it's kind of an invite, open invite. That's kind of what he's saying. Don't mind what you talk about, really. So he's kind of throwing it up to a bit like the Darkcity format. So it looks like we might have a 4-hour Darkcity type show, hosted by Dom for the first 2 hours. And then I tried to drum in other people. You can't be friends with a server, man. It don't like people. It's ignorant. Just so you know, just a server like somebody wants to be my friend. No. It's a server. It doesn't have friends. So where were I? Where was I? Yeah, Dom's been let down by his guest. Well, not let down. The guy has actually contacted him. He's ill. So that'll be a rescheduling. For some reason, I can't find my chat. The Linux server, we're back on Windows for the time being. Did work. It was good, but we've got to do all the updates, make it all stable, and get a backup for it, and then we'll be on there full crack. So that'll be great. It's really good to actually get that working. That's my big news this week. One to look forward to. Where are we? Well, they're all good. I can't really pick anywhere at the moment. I can't pick anywhere. We've done a little bit more trying to get these streams sorted out. That's another little bit of boring news. I've had some brilliant conversations, right, with the Department of Health and Social Security. Oh, yes, and I have got hours and hours of audio, and I've trimmed that all down. I could probably trim it down more. I don't want to make it sound like I've edited it to make it sound stupid. So I've managed to get that down to, I've got one phone call at 7 minutes, and a collection of phone calls at 17 minutes. Can I pity anybody, mate, that's taking any kind of medication to be able to navigate through what's going on with all that at the moment? It's just nuts. So yeah, it's the UK's national punishment time, right? If you're not actually, right, being abused by the government in some way at the moment, right, can you let us know? We'll send somebody round so you don't feel left out. Preposterous, isn't it? So I'm going to try and pull his lordship. I mean, pull Dom back in and see if he's managed to reboot his machine. He said it'd take him 2 minutes. That was 6 minutes ago, but we didn't have any pink champagne or blue M&Ms for him. Are you there, Dom? Oh, Dom, are you there?
Hello. I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, mate. Loud and clear.
All right, brilliant. Right, I guess the show has started already, and don't blame you for starting without me. I would. Well, have you explained what tonight's about and what's going on?
Yeah, roughly. I just told you. Yeah, just start again, Dom. They want to hear you. They don't want to hear me. They want to hear you.
Okie dokie. Hang on. Can you carry on for 1 second? I've got this call. Where's typical radio? Hello.
I love this, mate.
Speaking.
It's cool. You can't get any better than this, can you? This
is free for all.
All right, Danny.
This is live on edited radio.
Introduce yourself, Wanderer. You might as well.
Hey, how are you guys? I'm from Canada.
Danny.
From Canada.
Danny, I'm on radio at the moment. Yeah. Are you on Skype? Have you added me on Skype? I don't think you have. All right, I'll text you my details now,
Maybe
and I'll
Dom
bring you
is
in.
on mute.
We got Ceylon coming on first from Get Out of Debt Free and a few people on, but like, I'll text you the details, add me, and I'll pull you in.
I don't know what to say. Every time I begin to say something, he shouts, "Daddy! Daddy!"
All right. I'm going to tell him that I'm going to pull you in the call. Brilliant. All right, then. Bye. Right, hello, guys. Sorry about that.
Don't you cast your sorrow at us, sonny.
Right. Now, basically, because the guest let us down tonight, he contacted me at the last moment and said, like, he's had food poisoning and he's ill. So we're going to have a variety of guests on tonight. One of them's going to be... We've got a few people actually waiting, like Soul to Soul's going to come on at 8. We've got one of my friends' dads from Facebook's going to come on and have a little rant. We've got a guy called Wonder from Canada. We're going to have Ceylon come in, who has got an update of something that's gone on, and it's gone a bit pear-shaped for the Get Out of Debt Free guys at the moment. So I'm going to pull Ceylon in pretty instantly, and I'll let Ceylon explain what's been happening, because I haven't had time to have a look myself. And as soon as he's in the call, he'll explain that, and then we'll take it from there. And then I'm going to send a text message to our friend Danny Shine of the ex-Love Police, or however you want to put it. And Danny will be coming in a bit for a chat. He just phoned me up and pretended he was Mannie Sher of the Tavistock Institute. But we like a bit of Shine humour, so he'll be coming in very soon. Are you there, Ceylon?
He's just connecting, Dom. Give him a second. He's got bubbles. Oh God, it's my hero, Danny Shine.
Hi, Dom.
Hi, Ceylon. Great to have you back on the show, mate. Yeah, it's been a bit of a random one. I was just saying before I pulled you in, my guest lit me down tonight, and it's just a random free-for-all where people are going to be coming in and out of the call all night long. So,
Okay.
like, would you like to take it from the top, because you said something's happened this week, which is quite disastrous, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, actually, if you can just play a record or something for 2 minutes, because I was just talking to someone else. I've just got to go back and tell them that I'm on there, and they'll jump on and listen as well.
Okay, brilliant. All right then, guys. So let people know, if you're listening to the radio now, then there is a little chat box in yellow saying click here for chat. And you can come and join us in the chat room and ask any questions you want. And if you want to call into the show, I'm sure Bob has the number there to read out, or Paul, or whatever he wants to call himself. Paul, would you like to give out the numbers if people want to call in? And
Yes, certainly. If you're outside the United Kingdom, the number is 0044 161 298 0298. If you're in the UK, you just need 0161 298 0298. Or alternatively, you can get us on Skype by adding Bob's Backyard, and you can add Dom or any of the other hosts as well. But if you add myself, I host the calls here, so I'll pull you in as soon as we can. And yeah, pretty much of a free for all, as Dom said. So yeah, please do so. That's Bob's Backyard on Skype, or 298-0298 Manchester prefix.
yeah, now I'd like to explain to people, if people do actually want to come onto the show and contact me to come on, then like if they're going to not come on after they've booked in, please let me know as early as possible, because when you're trying to book guests in and it takes a couple of days to sort it out and then do all the research, line all your questions up, and then they let you down at the last minute, it can be very hard work and stressful. And what I usually do out in the real world, by going up interactions with the alleged authorities and things like that. This is a new path for me, hosting radio, so it's taken up a lot of my time. I'm not going on the street as much and exposing the corruption the way I used to do. Now I've got a bit of a live audience. It's a way to take it. Anyway, we've got Ceylon back with us, so would you like to take it from the top?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if anyone knows or not, but there was an eviction on Monday. We only found out about it Friday. It was down in Port Talbot in South Wales. I made my way down to it thanks to John for assisting me with travel costs. And I got down there Sunday night and stopped with some friends near there. Then we went up Monday morning because the eviction was due at 11 a.m. should I say. And there was 8 of us in total. John, who was in the house, we had 2 at the back gate and 5 at the front gate. At the front gate there was me, Psychodriller, Gary Cavell. Who else? Oh, there was Rachel, Huey, and Kitty Bell, all from Get Out of Debt. These are 2. Obviously, Kitty Bell and Rachel are women. And at 11 o'clock comes, and the 3 bailiffs come down towards us, and 2 locksmiths. And as soon as they get to the gate, they start attacking us, dragging us, punching us, knocking us this way, knocking us that way. In fact, the bailiffs were, I've got to say, although they were there trying to get in, the bailiffs actually did the what any decent human should have done in the end. They were that worried about the attacks we were suffering from these 2 locksmith guys that the bailiffs had to actually drag them off us.
What, the bailiffs dragged the police off?
No, it wasn't the police. It was 2. The police hadn't arrived at this point. These were the 2 locksmiths. Okay. They dragged the 2 locksmiths off us because they were kicking crap out of us.
No way. And this is all videoed, I guess.
Yes, yeah. Well, I had my camera and I was videoing all, and I'm getting. I got dragged into the stones on one side, and I managed to get back up. And then, just as I'm getting up, the Nathan, the guy that caused the most damage to almost everyone there, he grabbed me hair from behind and yanked me backwards. It was frightening. I actually only 24 minutes past 11 that night, I actually realised I'd been in shock all day. And it was only at 24 minutes past 11 that I came out of it. It was a horrendous assault on innocent men and women. And the women got just as good a kicking.
So, right, so the bailiffs turned up, the locksmiths came, tried to do the doors, a ruckus has broke out. And,
no, there was no ruckus. We were just standing in front of the gate, not letting them enter. So they started grabbing, dragging, punching, throwing us about as best they could.
Okay, and then the police turned up afterwards.
We called the police because we'd been attacked.
Yeah, of course. So what actually happened when the police turned up then?
Then we explained to them that Fisher and Lightwood, law of mortgages, where it basically says possession can only be taken if it's peaceably. And we put them on, all of them, everyone on notice of this, including the police. And this, we did other, we quoted other statutes and acts that they are supposed to, including the bailiff's rules, how they're supposed to behave. And the police were told all this. So it became a standoff situation then till approximately 3:40 in the afternoon. Then the police had come down. They'd come down and seen us a few times, and they come down and basically says, even though the warrant's stamped and doesn't have a signature on it as such, it's got a stamped signature, we're going to allow them to attempt to gain entry by whatever means they need. And well, we said, well, you do know you are here to prevent a breach of the peace, to which they replied, yes. Now, this was either a chief inspector or chief superintendent, his mate, and 2, one copper and 1 sergeant. And when they started, by this time, of course, there was only 3 bailiffs originally. By this time there's 10 of them. So they're virtually outnumbered as 2 to 1 anyway. So the simplest thing and the easiest thing to have done would have been to 3 of us grab one of us, drag us aside, then the next one drag us aside, and then they could have got in. But they decided they didn't fancy that. That'd take too long, so they decided they were going to basically attack us all, and that's what they did. The girls, they got kicked and elbowed and shoulder barged. Gary Psychodriller, he was lifted. Both his legs were lifted in the end. They were trying to throw him over the gate, while the guy that was behind the gate, Nathan, who had come across over the wall with a claw hammer and a crowbar, he jumps down on top of me. He beats the 7 bells out of me while I'm on the floor. And I'm filming all this as well. So he grabs my camera, steals the camera. Fortunately, we can see somebody captured a video of him actually with the camera, undamaged, and he slips it into his pocket. At this point, they're starting to smash the gate through, and somebody shouted to me, because I was the only one on the other side of the gate, that the next door neighbours had given them permission to go on their land to gain entry. It's just a small 3-foot wall around the side. So by this time, Nathan, he's grabbed Gary around the throat and he's strangling. So I tried to grab him to pull him off, but he's 6'5" and I'm only 5'8", so I'm struggling to get anywhere near him. But as soon as they say about the two going around the side, I have to leave that and rush around the side. And I shoved the first one back over the wall, and the second one's about to go. And I think, and I did, you have to forgive me if I'm a little confused here, because it seems that I've got some sort of concussion. My memory's not working right. I'm making all sorts of errors. Even the guys and girls that were there noticed how quiet I was, and that was basically because I was in shock. Well, as I think I stopped the second guy, and then I think by this time the gate had gone and some of them had come running through. And as I'm stopping the second guy, somebody grabs me by my hood and drags me. As the first one that I'd pushed off the wall, he then just jumps back over and they tackle me and knock me flying into the ground. At this point, I'm pinned down or up against the wall. It's very, very hit and miss in my head, because my head got banged all over the place. At this point, it's mayhem. And they come storming through. It was like something you would see in Nazi Germany. That's how bad it was. Now, when the attack was actually going off at the front gate, the guy with the camera, Danny, he thought, what the hell are the cops doing? So he turns around with the camera to see what they're doing. The cops are all stood at the edge of the driveway with the backs facing us, so they're looking away from us.
So they were told to stand there in that sort of stance?
Well, I'm assuming they were told to stand with your back there so that we can't see anything that goes off. Now, if they've arranged this with the bailiffs, it was very, very dangerous. So any one of us could have been killed because of the amount of aggression that was going off, particularly by Nathan. He seriously looks like he's been on something, or he's a psychopath or something. Absolutely violent beyond belief. When he had me on the floor, he was telling me he's going to break my jaw. But I digress. And again, you'd have to forgive me for this, because my brain's still all over the place. They then, by this stage, have got the few, and they're knocking everyone out the way. And then Nathan's on the phone to someone, asking if it's okay to smash a window. Now, when I say window, it's like a window, but the size of a door, and it's got say 10 or 12 panes of glass in it. And he's on the phone asking if he can. And basically, whoever he's speaking to says yes, and then he gets his crowbar and he just smashes the windows all the way down, across and back up, and smashes them through like that. Now, even in their own rules, it says you're supposed to gain peaceful possession. And it was even asked, because Danny turned round, and there was the chief inspector or whatever, his mate there, the next one down from him, was there. And he says, is this peaceful possession? And the cop just looked at him and just ignored him. At that point, of course, they went in and basically manhandled everyone out of the way. At this point, we're all suffering bruises, cuts, grazes. My head's still swimming all over the place. And so, we carry on as best we can, and we're asking the cops, why haven't they done anything? And they say, we'll deal with it at a later date, basically. Well,
yeah, that's the point I was going to get to next. Now this has happened, what's the procedure for you guys now?
Well, we're all talking about what we're going to do. We want to get the videos out as quick as possible. It will shock everyone that sees it by the amount of violence. And that's not from us. We're just standing there trying to stop them from getting in the gate, and they're just basically kicking 7 bells out of us.
Bloody hell, it's a bit mental for you at the moment in Ceylon.
Well, I did actually venture out. My mate wanted to do some, the board lad that I do videos with, he wanted to do some videos with me today, and I said, there's no way. I mean, for a start, my face is a bit puffed up, and I can't really concentrate. And anyway, we went out for a chat and walk around, and he brought me back early because I was misreading words. I was forgetting what I was talking about. and I was actually unsteady on my feet, so he brought me back before I actually fell down.
So this is going to be criminal prosecutions brought against the bailiffs, the locksmith, and the police. By the looks of things, is the only.
Well, they're all guilty, every single one of them, and whoever gave them the go-ahead to smash that window through in the first place.
Oh, it's like I'm just looking at this stuff, and this is one thing that I have been questioning him for some time, as you know, Ceylon. It's what we're doing is honourable and a good thing, but this is a very corrupt system that we're coming against. And are we actually, by our own honourability, our own heart actions, our own truth, actually bringing in more of a draconian state?
Well, we know exactly what happened with the just 3 bailiffs and the 2 criminals. Because bearing in mind, I reported as soon as it had calmed down a bit, I went and reported the fact that Nathan had stolen my camera. And he said, well, we don't know it's stolen. They might not have permanently deprived you of it. They wrenched it out of my hand, and he was trying to get the memory card because of the first assault and, of course, the second assault that they did. So anyway, sometime, and again, you have to forgive me for the timing because my head's still all over the place. One of the bailiffs came up and said, oh, we found your camera 150 metres from where he stole it and stuck it in his pocket, smashed, and strangely enough, the memory card had fallen out and got lost. So,
so it got saved to the memory card on the camera, not the actual hard drive of the camera.
No, it was just a memory card one. And like I say, when he was kneeling on top of me, he was trying to open it and grab the memory card then. So, the fact that it was missing when it mysteriously turned up 150 metres away, it wasn't mysterious to me. But at the end of the day, he also smashed it up. So he's actually destroyed my camera and still stolen my memory card. So he's still committed a criminal act, and the cops just ignored it and refused to do anything about it.
A couple of questions have come in, Ceylon. One of them is how long till the videos are up? And also, will they be edited, or are you going to put up the full unedited version?
Well, as you can probably gather, the fact that they stole the memory card, I have no video footage. Danny, he's editing it, and he's only editing to put a clip out so far, just so that people have an idea of what they'll be looking for.
Can I ask Danny who?
Danny Bamping. Okay.
A lot of people get arrested around old Danny Bamping, and I don't know what's going on here. But it's not looking good, is it? Did the bailiffs know that they were going to have a peaceful resistance waiting for them?
No, that's why they only turned up with 3 and 2 locksmiths. Well, 2 criminals. I won't even call them locksmiths because they weren't locksmiths, they were criminals.
Yeah, and there's another question coming. Do we know which company the locksmiths work for, or do they work directly for the bank? I think I can answer that. The locksmiths are actually directed by the bailiffs, I think.
Well, the only reason we got Nathan's name was because his other bully boy buddy that was with him, that was knocking us from side to side, they were calling each other. That's the only reason we got the names. None of them would identify themselves, including the bailiffs. None of them would show us any paperwork. The police, of course, says, yes, we've seen it, and it's stamped and whatnot. And so we asked if it was a wet ink stamp, wet ink signature, and he says, no, it's a stamp, but that's fine by us.
Oh, dear. So did anybody get hospitalised?
Psychodriller got a big cut above his, I think it was his right eye.
When was this?
Monday.
All right. Because I was supposed to have Psychodriller on radio on Sunday, actually, but he didn't turn up, and I haven't seen him active online, and now I know why he wasn't online.
Well, I think that because I travelled down the Sunday, and I think that he travelled down on the Sunday as well and stayed in someone's place, and because it's a long way to get to, and to be there for 11 o'clock was almost going to be impossible for anyone. So I think those that did go had gone over the night before, and like I say, it was very short notice. No, we only found out Friday, and so I didn't even know I was going till Saturday, and then I caught the train down Sunday, and so I would imagine they went over the Sunday as well and stopped over.
I really don't know what to say to you, Ceylon, except it's a bitch, isn't it? crazy what is actually going on in the world, and this is like people like yourself, myself, and many other people that we all know and we've all named, and many of us look at their YouTube channels and put stuff out there. We don't just get stick virtually online. It's like physical abuse that comes to us, and this is part of what we have to deal with.
Well, when I've been over to not yesterday, because yesterday I've got no memory of yesterday. I was talking to some of them that was there. I was talking to them tonight. That's who I was on the talk to just before you put me on, and they were talking about a conversation we had last night. I have no memory of that conversation at all. I don't even remember it taking place.
So you've got like concussion for sure.
Yeah.
Now the only thing you can do if you're going to take criminal prosecution against them, you've got to get doctors' reports, all the evidence together.
Yeah. I'm off to see the doctor tomorrow. I tried to get in today. Obviously, I didn't get back till about 7 o'clock last night, so it was short. So I tried to get in today, and the earliest would get me in is tomorrow. So I'm off to the doctor's tomorrow. And then we'll see what he says.
Well, anybody that's actually in the call, have you got any questions or anything you want to put to Ceylon? Because he's not on for too long, because he's got another show to go on and talk all about this. So if anybody wants to add anything at this moment, please feel free.
I was just giving other people the opportunity there, Dom, for a minute. The best of luck to you, Ceylon. Get yourself checked out medically, mate.
Yeah.
Don't worry about going on radio or staying on here. Seriously, if you have got concussion, you need to check yourself out. You really do, man.
Well, the show that I'm on after this one has been booked for over a month, and so obviously I didn't want to let him down, even though I'm not fully compos mentis. So I'll have to let him know beforehand, because there's things that happen. It's like that part where I was telling you where I shoved the bailiffs back over the wall and then the attack. I'd forgot all about that until today. So it's still...
A lot of that can be shock and trauma. I've had some pretty heavy trauma myself, man. I've just had the police complaints commission find in my favour, at least on one of my complaints out of the 3. So, and that involved people smashing into my home in the night and attempting to torture me. So yeah, I am aware that you can go through almost like this surreal happening in your head, man. So, but get yourself checked out. I got quite a beating, man, but I didn't do it, and I should have done, because you are out there doing your bit, and you have done for a long time, hell of a long time, man, doing your bit for the people. Yeah, we don't need any fallen heroes, man. We don't need any more fallen heroes. So look after yourself. That's my thing here, mate. Look after.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. Like I say, this is why I'm getting checked over by the doctor, and also tell him what's happened since the assault. And then I'll just wait, because I've no idea. It's the first time I had a beating like this. But even the girls that were there that got a beating, and I'm not sure if the mind's changed now, because I do know from talking to them earlier, some of them have realised that they're still in shock. I pointed out to one of them the day, on the evening, when I sort of wake up, and the next day I pointed out that you could still be in shock, and it's just today they've realised that they were still in shock. It was that severe.
Definitely, man. It's surreal. You go through a surreal experience. Suddenly it's like, whoa, it is. So yeah, man. Thanks for the work you do as well, man. It's a shame that you've kind of come in and you've took a kicking for it, really. But let's hope you took a bullet for the rest of us. Get that video footage out there. Show the people that they are prepared to act in violence. The police are prepared to turn a blind eye. They really are, and just get them.
Like I say, it wasn't just a blind eye. They literally turned their backs, so they were looking up the road, so they couldn't see the beating we were getting.
Well, yeah, I'm right with you, man. That's what I mean by turning the blind eye.
Yeah.
Even when they look right at you and they see it going on, they ignore it. They might as well be blind,
Absolutely.
That's just ridiculous.
I mean, obviously, I've been to a few of these to help assist others with defending their homes, and so I know that they can get a bit tasty, but I've never seen anything to this extent. And the only reason they did it to this extent was because they outnumbered us 2-1. And they, like I say, it could have been dead simple, just drag us away one at a time, and then someone hold us on the floor or something. But no, they deliberately went in. They wanted to give us a good kicking. That's the only way, the only outcome I can see from the way they did things.
Yeah, so I don't follow all this too much. I mean, I've got all my paperwork. I heard your show, you see, with Dom a while back, and I've started to get onto them to try and get documentation and stuff. I'm not in debt or anything like that with mine. I've managed to pay it, but I'm realising that I don't really want to support the murdering bastards, to be honest. It's just... on that, I kind of, although I don't agree with what Roger Hayes and the people who are behind him, how he made that stand, what the point he made on not paying his poll tax, because it's being used to fund illegal war, and I subscribe to that. I do.
Yeah. Well,
you have to step back because you don't want to be complacent with all that. Exactly what you're saying. You don't want all your money to be funneled into all these illegal wars and all these murders worldwide.
Absolutely, and I'm 100% in it. And I hate actually buying things from shops because of the 20% tax that I know exactly where it's going. It's going to kill some innocent child or woman or man in a foreign country simply because they've got oil or gold or drugs on the land. And that's all it's about, money to these egotistical, psychopathic, murdering, lying, cheating killers, basically. And of course, they're all the paedophilia that's all involved with them all is a bonus to them.
Yeah, it just seems to me, I'm unsure what's going on in the world with like all this rebellion action going on, and as we saw with the Occupy movement, was just heavily orchestrated by the governments, and it's starting to make me wonder about all this lawful rebellion information, where it shot up from and why it went all viral. Are we actually going to seriously bring in the New World Order plans of total domination by our own actions, the people rising up and protesting for more rights? When you look at something else that's been in the news at the moment, or it's gone now, the meat scandal of horse meat in Tesco's and Iceland and all the rest of it, all the people are rising up going, that's disgusting, you can't put horse meat in there when it's got beef written on it. And if you read all the papers and read between the lines, it's quite simple. All they want to do is toughen up and make the regulations tighter. And this is all like in line with Codex Alimentarius and Agenda 21, where people are going to need literally a license to go to the toilet. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think a lot of what's going off, it may even be planned by them. And the only thing is, I think they have actually lost control. They've started so many things. But for instance, like you pointed out, the Occupy movement. They started so many things that have just run away from them, and they're actually shooting themselves in their own foot. And I think they've got to be really cacking themselves at the moment, because so many are waking up. And you don't need to know all the stuff that likes of us know. You just need to know, and I think everyone knows, that the government's corrupt, the police are corrupt, the courts are corrupt. It's all corrupt. And you just need to know that much. You don't have to have the knowledge that likes of us have. Just wake up from the fact that everything is corrupt, and we need to end this system and not replace it with a new world order.
Yeah, but that's the plan, was to make this go crazy and then end the system like you're talking about, and then drag us into the new world order.
I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. The only thing is, once that enough have woken up, it won't happen. It just won't happen, because that many will be awake and being aware of what their plans are. I believe that inside every one of us, there's love and peace. And I mean, if you check out someone runs a YouTube channel and puts my stuff up, Sri Lanka Sea, all one word, and all the stuff that we talk about is. There's a video on there where I'm talking about governments and wars, and
you're talking very, very unrash. You're talking very real, but I'm guessing you ate supper tonight, right? You guys are going to box us in by taking away our food.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm fully aware of that.
But once that happens, all these nice people aren't nice anymore.
Well, that's maybe what they want you to believe. I know that if I've got spare food, I will share it with my neighbours.
But Sher, we're almost a rule to the exception. That when a group of us are together talking about trying to change the world, quote unquote, the world isn't made up of us. We're not all blue pegs. We're all different colors, right? And the majority, the 70 or 80%, they're under mind control or whatever, and they're all handled.
Possibly, but I'm also very aware that even those that insultingly, in my opinion, called sheeple, even they know something's wrong. They just don't know what it is yet. Everyone's waiting to wake up. They know something's wrong. They just don't know what it is. And as soon as they get an inkling of anything that it is wrong, that's going to be the key to them waking up. And when there's enough wake, and it must be very close to that point now, a critical mass, it must be very, very close to that point.
Well, when you look at it, well, yeah, but like when you look at what's going on within our circles and the amount of people giving hits to websites, you can see that this information is flooding the market as such, and there's a lot of truths out there, or people telling truths, and a lot of them I've looked into so much that I can only hold my own truth. And like I've had debates with people, and they're saying, "Well, truth is universal," and I totally disagree. Let's say that we've got a meal in front of us, and we both eat the same meal on the same plate, and it doesn't matter what cutlery you use. I might taste it completely different to you. I might like it. You might not like it. So who's telling the truth?
Well, exactly. It's your own version of whatever the truth is that you want to see it to be.
It's subjective, and we've got to find a universal solution rather than a universal truth. And what's going on is people are trying to replace the old system with another system, whether it will be Occupy or OPPT, the One People's Public Trust, ITCCS, which is Kevin Annett's thing, and they all want to replace this system with another system. And then when people say, well, what's your solution then? What system would you replace it with? Well, there's only one system out there that you cannot really manipulate, and when they do manipulate it, that's how they get control. You've got Big Pharma, that they have manipulated the world of nature, and that's what they've done for their pharmaceutical industry to make billions out of it. So the only system that's truly in place that we could live with is nature. But where people are programmed with the mass media and all the social engineering tools that the elites have, then like what chance did the mass have at awakening? When you talk about this stuff on this sort of a level, a lot of people will just say you're a crazy conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, I've no doubt they will. But at the end of the day, you've got to start somewhere. And unfortunately, a conspiracy theorist is a derogatory term used by the elite to attack critical thinkers. Because when you start thinking critically and weighing everything up, they want you to be looked at and thought of as a crazy nut conspiracy theorist. And that's just, well, we've undergone so much mind control. It's unbelievable. And if anyone's still watching the TV, well, unfortunately, it's going to be difficult for them to break out of their sleep.
This is it.
It's getting to the point where they're not going to be able to afford to watch the TV anymore, so they're going to have no choice but to start waking up, or at least researching into why they can't afford to have a TV.
Well, it's to tell live vision. It's one of their biggest tools of propaganda that they've ever held. It's quite sick, really, what they've done to humanity. Anyway, we've got Danny Shine join us as well. Have you heard what's been going on, Danny?
I've heard a little bit, only the last 5 or 10 minutes. Or do you mean generally if I heard what's been going on in the world over the last 5,000 years? Which do you mean?
we can go general, but like the thing was with Ceylon. Do you know Ceylon from Get Out of Debt Free?
I've heard of Get Out Debt Free. I wasn't aware of anyone called Ceylon. There was another guy that I'd heard of in
John
Bournemouth.
Whitterick.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both great guys, and they've been doing
I've been doing some stuff with White Rabbit.
Okay, yeah.
You know him?
Simon.
Spaniard. Yeah, Simon. Yeah.
So
He's helped me out.
How's that going?
Oh, it was amazing. I've had some encounters. I've been doing this megaphony for years and years, and I had some encounters with the Westminster Council, a particular Westminster Council. I mean, they've come up to me, many of them, and tried to stop me doing what I'm doing. And of course, whenever they speak to me, I ask them whether I'm obliged to speak to them, and they're kind of lost, and then I usually cycle off and go away. But they managed to. They basically a lot of what I've been sharing with you actually over the last couple of days with a couple of comments on your YouTube channel is, for me, my spiritual state, if you like, or my way of being is an important thing for me, and I've noticed it in my life. It plays out in my life, and if I'm centered and compassionate and calm, which is definitely not the case a lot of the time, then that creates certain things outside in the world. And basically a few months ago, I was standing right outside Oxford Circus, and one of these Westminster guys came up to me, and I kind of blasted out through the megaphone, "Oh, look, the Westminster guy's coming up after me," and everyone around was sort of getting all excited. And that sort of started off a whole series of events where he obviously was out to get me. And they found this ridiculous bylaw. I mean, it is almost, it's a laughable bylaw. They've created a bylaw which says that if you sing or shout or do anything and it annoys one person, and that person tells you to stop and you don't, you've broken one of their bylaws.
Does that include an officer of the law?
Well, that's a very good point. Exactly. Well, that's one of the many, many points I've got in my defence. Anyway, basically, this is what it said, and he came up to me once on the street. It's a bit. I'll try and keep it brief. But basically, he came up to me on the street, and he got this time, because I kept cycling off. In January, he got 2 police officers to come along, and. Because I've on my channel, you'll see there's a film where it's about 2 minutes long, where a police officer comes up to me and I meditate, and in 30 seconds of meditation I count to 30, and when I open my eyes, this woman, the police officer, is just gone, because I find that meditation calms me down, and then great things can happen. But I didn't do that on this occasion, and I was all riled up and got into a whole discussion with the police, and basically I fell for it, and I gave them my details. Because they threatened to arrest me, but little did I know at the time, I hadn't actually read I hadn't read it. I asked the police to read it, but I hadn't read it calmly myself properly. The actual statute bylaw that he'd produced on this piece of paper, and what it turns out is the offence is not making the noise. The offence is if you don't stop when somebody asks you to stop, right? And he hadn't stopped. He hadn't actually done that. He got hold of me, got the police, got my details, taken away the megaphone, and then he proceeded. They proceeded to. So they sent me last week. They sent me a summons to court, and when I received the summons, I could feel in my body, I started getting nervous and upset, and I could feel it in my body because it's me against Caesar, But I know from my last experience in court that there is no better way of getting to understand the system, especially the legal system, than being up against it. And now I'm very, very excited about the possibilities, because I've become aware that what they're actually doing is it's a private prosecution. I didn't really even understand what that meant until this week, and until Simon explained to me. It's the city of Westminster taking me to a private prosecution for a bylaw, and there is an immense scope here. And I'll just leave you with one thing that I ended up bumping into the guy yesterday who did this, and I managed to calm myself down. Had a conversation with him for about an hour. Really listened to where he was coming from. I tried to understand where he's coming from, and told him in a very, very kind way, as kind as I could, non-threatening as I could, that if they proceeded to take me to court, I would be filing a private prosecution against him for misconduct in public office, which has a maximum sentence of life imprisonment.
Yeah, I know about misconduct in a public office.
And but I could I can have a private prosecution against him. And so hopefully it started to dawn on him what's really going on, this City of Westminster, of course, their legal department he even said this. He said, "Well, we've got nothing to lose taking you to court," But there's loads and loads of reasons, which I won't go into now, why there would have to be completely corrupt magistrates to find me guilty, and even if they did, it's just a fine. It's not a big deal, and I'd appeal it. But it's exciting, the idea that we can start privately prosecuting these people, so that, to play them at their own game. It's not something that I want to do, but it's something that it feels right to start to alert them to the fact that we can and will do this if they continue this type of harassment.
See, do you know what my problem with all this private prosecution and fighting the system that sort of way is?
Go on.
The only thing that is in place is the system, and you'd have to take them to court via the Crown Courts using bar-accredited solicitors, and all the characters in that room work for the Crown, including yourself. I agree.
I agree. That's a massive problem. I don't know about having to use solicitors. I didn't realise that in Crown Court you have to use solicitors. Do you? You can't.
No, you don't have to. No. But,
okay. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't use solicitors. I'd never ever use a solicitor unless I found a solicitor that realised all the stuff that we know about. If I found a solicitor like that, which would be extremely rare, I've not found one yet. I think they do exist, but I don't know whether they're still working as solicitors. But if I did, yes, I might, but I wouldn't ever use solicitor. No, I agree with you. Of course, it's using their own system. But right now, I'm in a position where, I'm doing this megaphoning. And they've sent me a summons to court. So there's lots of different ways of dealing with it. And of course, I'm not going to. It's not my main deal to fight the system. I also want to see an end of this system. But it is part of what I'm doing, and the fact is, I am up against the system at the moment with this summons.
Okay. Now, what you said earlier about the conversation that was going on via YouTube, it was quite funny. I posted up a video where somebody edited my video, which is called Bailiffs versus Person, LOL. And they edited out a tiny bit, which is me going up to the copper straight away, and he starts asking me questions, and I'm not answering his questions. Well, I am with a question. And then he basically says, well, there's no need to be rude.
Right.
And I say to him, well, I'm not being rude. And then, like, a little bit later, he doesn't answer my questions. And I said, well, is that not being rude then? And he goes, no. And then I was like, well, so you're twisting things then. And it all ended up really nice and lovey-lovey. The bailiff ended up.
Maybe it was the bit that was edited out that made it look like you weren't being calm and compassionate to this guy. I'm not saying you should, but I'm just saying that it looked like that you were being a bit arsey to him.
I am a bit of an arse, though, Danny. You should know that by now. And then that was the thing. So, like, I just bit back at you when you said, well, I think the cop's got a point. And it led up to the point about Mannie Sher.
Yeah. You want to speak about that?
Well, I'd love to get him on the show because I don't think alternative media, as it's put, really lets both sides or all sides of the coin being shown. Because
I agree with you, and that's something that I'd like to, one of the many things that I'd like to do is to get an opportunity to get, different viewpoints, together. I could definitely contact him. I'm sure he would definitely take a phone call from me. I haven't spoken to him for many, many years. Whether he'd come on an obscure internet radio show, I don't know.
Well, I think he'll remember me. I was knocking on their headquarters for 3 days until they answered.
Yeah, but was it him that answered personally?
Yeah, Mannie Sher come down. And that's the thing. I was shocked when it was him that come down, and that's why I came back to the Occupy Square, and 20 minutes later you turned up with your megaphone to talk about social engineering. So I came up to you, and that's how I found out that you knew Mannie Sher, because...
Right, I literally haven't. I mean, you can either believe me or not believe me. I haven't spoken to him for years, but I used to be in school with his son, but that was like 35 years ago. So, or 30 years ago. So I haven't really had much to do with him. He doesn't live a million miles away from me, but, I haven't had much to do with him. He doesn't seem to me to be, some evil man that you seem to make out he might be.
I'm not saying that. I reckon Edward Bernays had many friends. I reckon Freud had many friends, but... I
understand, but Edward Bernays... I don't know. I might be completely wrong, but I get a feeling that what Edward Bernays was saying and what he would say, I think.
Is Danny there?
No, I think he dropped.
Oh, maybe we said Tavistock one too many times.
Circle.
Well, we'll try and get Danny back in for everyone because I've got many more questions. This has been quite a nice random show, but we have got quite a few people actually in the call with us, and if anybody would like to add anything at this point whilst we're waiting to get Danny, please feel free to start the conversation over.
I'm trying to bring Danny back in for you now. That was a bit surreal, wasn't it? I must admit. I'm really humbled by Danny Shine. He called us obscure. I mean, this is from a man who wears a balaclava and shouts at people with a megaphone on the street. Wonderful. What an accolade we could have had from Danny there.
Well, Mannie was up. Well, he did actually have interviews with part of the press team of Occupy, so it would be nice if he could come on and basically explain what the Tavistock Institute is from his angle, being right at the top of it, and hopefully we could have a really nice debate. And if it's supposed to be alternative media, and what I'm noticing with a lot of these alternative medias is Danny's trying to call me in at the moment, so if you want to call him back in, he should come in.
No.
What I'm noticing with all these alternative medias is basically they'll have people on their show and they'll just agree with them and give them a nice big ego rub, and that's not what I'm about at all. I don't mind getting in there with a big wooden spoon and stirring it up to find out what are the truths that are at the bottom of this all, because you stir something up and the scum will rise to the top. So let's give it a stir, and then we know what the scum is, and we can take that off and get all the wonders underneath of the stew. Danny, are you back with us?
It's ringing. It's ringing now. Don. I totally agree with your sentiments, yours and Danny's. That if we're going to have an open media source, then it needs to be an open media source. It'd be contradictory in terms. We said right from the onset, all are welcome as long as they agree. All are welcome.
Hi.
And welcome back, Danny.
I about that. My dad called in the middle.
I did hear some chains in the background. Maybe you're chaining someone up and they're trying to knock you offline, or maybe we said Tavistock one too many times.
Yeah, Tavistock, that's right, of course. No, it was my dad. It's just my dad. But, anyway, I'm back. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm happy to ask him. I'm happy to ask him to come on the show. I mean, I don't know how I'd explain it to him, but I don't know what I'd say to him. What should I say to him?
Say, around the Occupy time, basically somebody came and knocked on your front door with a crazy top hat and loads of feathers out of it, and he runs a radio station, and
Right.
I'm quite open to debate what the Tavistock Institute is all about.
Right.
And
Okay.
you're quite free to give him my phone number.
Our website or something.
Well, give him all details. It's
Have you looked at their website? What does their website say?
what the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. Yeah, I haven't looked at it since Occupy, to be honest. But if you go and have a look at the Tavistock Institute's actual website, it is a very interesting website. Mannie Sher's on there. It's got all his credentials. It's got a lot of people that they big up, like Huxley and Orwell and all these types, and Edward Bernays, who is.
Are you serious?
Pardon?
They big up these people.
There's definitely. I remember Orwell on there, which is quite a shock, because when you look at something like 1984, Orwell would truly be proud that his book is spot on.
His
But,
book is
I am surprised you said it.
And one of the points that you was pointing across to me was you were saying, well, do you think I'm a government agent, i.e. you, and maybe I should ground myself by talking to some of my friends, and then you mentioned Do, and I hardly know Do. I've met him
I thought you did. I thought you knew him. That's all.
No, that's part of the thing. It's like assumptions. People think that I know people really well because, like, there's one guy who's a well-renowned internet troll who calls himself Bada Bing, and because I connected with him, and everyone thought we were really good mates and distanced themselves from me when he attacked absolutely everyone around me. But like, people have realised that this sort of stuff does go on, and which leads to like undercover agents and trolls and operatives that try and do disinformation or distraction techniques and things like that. And these are found within all kinds of movements and protests, whether it be online or in the physical world. And if I remember rightly, you was telling me about somewhere you went abroad. This was, I think, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Was it Israel or something? And you said some guy came up to you and introduced themselves to you, which you got a little bit suspect of at the time. Is that right?
I don't remember. I've been lots of places and done lots of things. No. I don't remember anyone doing that, but who knows? So
what are your views on the Tavistock Institute then?
Well, I know next to nothing about it. I'm just I'd be very, very surprised if Mannie Sher is involved with, with things like, trying to create an Orwellian world. I just think that's almost impossible for me to get my head around, because I've met him. He's a family guy. He's a regular guy. As far as I'm concerned, he's a psychotherapist and a psychoanalyst. And
Psycho the rapist.
Yeah, Psycho the rapist. If you look at, I'm looking at their website now, and you can see things from whatever perspective you choose to. And here I think what he would say is that what he's involved in is trying to bring psychoanalysis and psychoanalytic thinking into the workplace, and that could be understood in ways like you're describing, mind control, but it could also be understood in understanding that actually underneath everything lies the subconscious mind, and in a way ties into what I was sharing before, which is that is that inside of me, how aware am I of my subconscious processes? How aware am I? And I think that's what perhaps I was commenting on with you sometimes when you're with the police, that I question how aware you are of your own process and your own experience of authority in your early days, and how much that is still influencing your life now, because I can tell you from my own experience that whenever, for example, a police officer comes up to me, almost whenever a police officer comes up to me, I feel visceral changes in my body because of the conditioning that I've had about the police, because the policeman reminds me of my parents or my father and teachers who were not good examples of authority. And I think that understanding information is important, because that's why when I remember, I count to 30 and close my eyes, which is a fantastic tool because most people can't handle that, just the quiet, yeah. But for me, it's a very important tool because it means I can get beyond that and bring myself back into the present moment.
A question has come in from the chat room. Have you ever heard of a film or watched Century of the Self?
Yes, I have indeed. It's a great film.
And that touches a lot on who Edward Bernays is, a lot of the film. I think it's a good hour of it. And it really does explain the techniques that the Tavistock Institute have been using since 1947 on their social engineering. And they're alleged to be hugely involved with things like the Beatles and the Love Revolution and manipulate and control something like that. They're also. I mean,
I will definitely. I'm really happy to contact him, and I think that if you interviewed him, I think you'd find a very, very different. You know, he would. I think you'd find it. Come over. Maybe he is. You know, maybe he won't be truthful, but he'll come over and explain to you a very different way of seeing what they do than the way you're seeing it.
Well, that's why I would want proper alternative radio where you can, instead of sitting there on the radio going, "Oh, these are evil, they're evil," then why can't we address it to these people? What the conspiracy circuits are saying?
That's absolutely, and that's something that one of the. I think that this comes onto another subject completely, and something that I'm looking at this year, and I'm very at the very moment and finding it quite challenging, is that I think, and perhaps you'll disagree with me on this, that I think that in, as I call it, in the world of Caesar, in Caesar's world, we need tokens, we need the fake tokens that people call money, in order to create. Good products and good products maybe isn't a good word, but good initiatives, useful and helpful initiatives. And because I can probably get to speak to Mannie, but if we had resources behind us, then it would be a lot easier to put those type of things in place. I think without any resources behind us, I think it's very, very difficult to do that.
Well, I think Bob's got a question coming in, but what you said there was we need money, and I totally disagree with you. We don't need money. We need food. We need shelter.
I didn't say we need money. I said my thoughts are, and anything that I say with varying amounts of doubt, most of what I say. But I said I think in order to create good and powerful and widespread messages and initiatives, I think we need tokens to do that. In order to do that, I didn't say we need money in order to live. I understand where you're getting at with that. I think that's what you're saying is that idea that we need money, that in itself is part of the system's brainwashing, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. I just think that currently, in order to be effective at I don't know how to describe it, transforming the system, bringing the system to an end, whatever it is, moving to the next level of humanity, reality, moving to the next dimension, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I suspect, and again, I'm not sure, that in order to do that, we need that. It would be very helpful. Let's put it that. It would be very helpful to have some tokens, some fake tokens.
Bob wants to come in with a question. Where is that train noise coming from, by the way?
That's my a ringtone for my wife sending me a text message.
Okay, great. Bob, Paul.
Yeah, I do. The social engineering was first demonstrated to me by two gentlemen actually coming up to people in the street and telling them that they were the undercover anti-terrorist squad. The way those people reacted, and of course you know one of those gentlemen was you, Danny.
Yeah.
And the way people actually reacted to that, it's followed my studies. And again, like yourself, Danny, it's not a path I would have actually chosen to walk down if I would have been given any choice. So I think you wanted, Dad.
Sorry, I don't, hold on a minute. I've got my family calling. Okay, I'm busy at the moment, guys. I'll be a few minutes. Sorry about that. I didn't really understand. Sorry, it's really disturbing here. I didn't really understand what you said. I know you said you saw us through the anti. Yeah. What was the point about?
The social engineering, you see, that Tavistock uses. You demonstrated it to me. How the people actually react to so-called authority.
Right.
Where that some people could have cameras and some people couldn't have cameras.
Right.
Even getting I think it was well, I don't know what the word is, official cameraman to show you his identification.
Right.
And you were demonstrating that what the Tavistock people are quite informed in doing, putting people into that conscious state where they actually think someone else has got the authority to just ask them for something on the blue on the street,
right.
Just by using a few words and well-placed words.
Yeah, I mean, I literally know nothing about the Tavistock Institute, and maybe when I get off the phone, which I have to do imminently, I'll have a little look at their website for a start. I really do know nothing about it. I just know that I know this guy socially, vaguely from 30 years ago, and he seems like a nice guy to me. That's all I know.
Yeah, you seem like a nice guy to me, Danny, what I've seen you do, man, and you've inspired me. You really have. Cool to have you here, man. Seriously, I looked at what you did in the early days, and it did inspire me. I became a member of the Love Police. I'm actually Patrick. I do an Irish guy, active member of the Love Police.
Oh, okay.
So it's been good fun. It's been good fun. Like I say, I'm just a soldier. I'm no general like yourself or Charlie or anything like that. I'm just an active soldier. I do my best every day to raise the energies of love and dispel the energies of fear.
Beautiful.
That's why we're here.
Great thing to do. I have a great friend that I met as a result of the film. I think I'll leave it here. I have a lot of respect for, and he has a lot of influence on me, actually. Perhaps I need to be careful with that. He's a great guy, and he's got a little he's created his own little sort of symbol, and he calls himself a one-man army, and he's sort of, and I think that's I like that idea, not being part of some group that then divided, we're this group, we're that group. That's why I was never a member of the Love Police. That was Charlie's creation.
Oh, come on, it wasn't. It was inspired by you. I saw
it was inspired by
you. Yeah, come on. You just give it up. I saw it. You went, shit. No, go on.
No, hold on. No,
on that note,
it was
on that note, Danny, as you brought up good old Charles, I was only going to bring him up anyway because, I looked at all your work many years ago and loved what you was doing, and Charlie, and that's what led me to go out there and do more positive stuff and do some sort of action to do some change. And I saw copycats of Charlie Veitch going about, and one of them was a little kid, and that really turned me off. It was like, right. I wouldn't want to copy anyone. Anyone that's copying anyone is not really going to put out their truth. They're just mimicking somebody else's truth.
But they could. I'm all for not necessarily copying, but being inspired to do their version of it.
Yeah. Now,
listen, I've got to go. And thank you so much. I hope I can come again on your program. I've really enjoyed it. And I'll be reporting back to Mannie everything that's happened.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Danny.
Take care.
I'll speak to you soon.
God bless. Bye.
Well, that's from having no guests to Ceylon and Danny Shine already, and a huge amount of people in the call here already. Anybody want to add anything at this point? No, it must be good.
It is brilliant, Tom. Absolutely brilliant. Made up me with that. I'm telling you, I'm going to retire, mate. I'd shut the station down. That was my target.
I'm having a hard time jumping in here.
Yeah, jump in, Wonder.
Oh no, I'm enjoying listening to you. But
it's a shame that, like, when we started talking about Tavistock, he dropped out the call, and then
that's what I was going to say. It's pretty coincidental that the 7-7 buses blew up in front of Tavistock.
No, that was in Tavistock Square.
Oh, okay.
And then on top of that, 2 terrorists, or seemed to be terrorists, connected to it. They were arrested in Tavistock Place, up Ladbroke Grove. You've got all these signs everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm one that likes to look into this at a point of view. What I done after I was seeing all this stuff online of people being a lot more active, and it made me do it. I ended up coming back down to London, and I got involved with a place called Kew Bridge Eco Village, which when I first went there, it was wonderful. It was people sick of this system, rebelling against it, and trying to set a community up using all kinds of reclaimed stuff and trying to be as free as possible. But by the end of it, with the sort of people involved like Dean Puckett, Gareth Newman, and David Shaler, and David Shaler said he's going to come on the show at some point, and he's an ex-MI5 whistleblower who now claims to be Jesus Christ while he dresses as a woman and says 9/11's an inside job. So whilst you're saying 9/11's an inside job and then dressing as a woman and claiming to be Jesus, could really discredit the truth. Or Jesus might be the truth and 9/11 might be a lie. Who knows? But I'm sorry, I'm not here to follow you, Mr. Shaler. I'm here, I don't know what reason I'm here for, but what I'm doing at the moment, and what I've because I'm on this path, it's my path, my journey, and I've seen the corruption from inside the so-called truth movement, inside the so-called rebellious ones that are against the government. Kew Bridge was nothing more than another social engineering experiment to manipulate, control, and watch the rebellious people so they can evaluate them and write back to GCHQ. And that's what's taken me along this path of not really trusting any movement, because when you look at it, such as Occupy, they had the Tavistock Institute involved from week one, doing social dreaming events. So if you want to find out what social dreaming events are by Tavistock, it's actually on their website. But go and have a look up somebody like John Coleman, who talks about Tavistock.
You just made me remember something else too. When the Occupy was going on, me and my friend Max Radical, we went to about 4 or 5 different Occupies, and a reoccurring theme was these guys want to change everything, right? But the 99% wanted to dominate the 1%, like the 1% dominated them. They don't want anything to change. They just want to flip the script.
Yeah, and what I witnessed myself with Occupy at St Paul's in London, they missed the banking district by only about 100 metres, but that's neither here nor there. When you're having a look at a movement that's supposed to be a leaderless movement, and then all of a sudden in the first week, you've got all these people that self-appointed themselves in positions of leadership, but nobody was claiming leadership. You had general assemblies in the London movement were run by a woman called Saskia Kent, and she's a Common Purpose graduate, and Common Purpose are trained to be tomorrow's leaders by the government. You've also got the Tavistock Institute, as I mentioned, doing social dreaming. You had BBC there acting as protesters and running the press team, or let's say the mainstream media were running the press team. You had on the security team, there was a guy called Stephen Moore, who runs a firm called Cash Flow Advice Bureau. So if you look up Stephen Moore, Cash Flow Advice Bureau, you'll soon see that this guy, he came to Occupy and he was a bit honest. You know what I mean? He said half the truth. He told everybody he was an ex-bailiff, so he understood a little bit about law. And he was an ex-bailiff, but he forgot to tell everybody the full truth. He's no longer a bailiff because he instructs bailiffs for the High Court. This ain't county court or anything like that. He instructs bailiffs for the High Court. These are the type of people that were running the show down there. So when I was down there exposing it and saying, look, the donation money is going to Climate Camp. Climate Camp's got huge links to being dodgy. You know what I mean? It's got Mark Kennedy, the undercover cop for 7 years, heavily involved. And he was going down to festivals and getting involved. And this was a long-haired, boss-eyed, hippie-looking guy. But this is an undercover cop who is for real in the movement. Like, you know what I mean? Why be part of a movement when the only truth is yourself? You be true to yourself, be true to the rest of the world, and then nothing can really harm you. If you don't become part of a movement, then if somebody's attacking you, they're attacking you for your truth. Stay true to yourself, and it can't really harm you. But if you're part of a movement or part of a group, and this group goes out and does some kind of action, then you've labelled yourself part of that. Like Anonymous. Anonymous is a great one to look at, because you can't label anyone as being the leader of that, and they're attacking the CIA and all these other big things and hacking here, there and everywhere. What a load of crock. All it is at the end of the day, if it was a social engineering program and they'd done all this huge kind of action, they could bring in all kinds of regulations on the internet. And not just that, Anonymous, that means everyone. Every single one of you will come under this banner because there's nobody to label it to.
Well, their common purpose, their color was purple, was it not?
What do you mean their color was purple?
Like on their flyers and stuff, all their advertising, it was purple.
They have had stuff like purple with like triangles around.
I just watched a pretty amazing video. I'm going to put it in the text, but it had to do with the color purple and going back to Phoenicians, which is the originators of the color purple, and control of everything. Like when you're graduating university, you're wearing purple. All the top people are in purple. I'm going to put the video in the link. It's worth the watch. I'm not really doing it justice right now. I described it.
Yeah. All right. Well, whilst you grab that link, we have got a couple of other callers in here. We've got Soul to Soul, we've got Sudamar, and we've got Vin James. Hi, guys. Who's first out the bag? Hello. So, is there anything you guys want to add at this point tonight? Have a rant.
Not just listening, really, at this stage, but I find it interesting that in terms of finding solutions, that we seem to struggle, and then when we look at the people who are in control, they seem to manage it quite nicely. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Manage what quite nicely? I didn't hear you.
Well, they've got one agenda, haven't they? They all apparently worship the same God or Satan or whatever they worship, and they've got the same ideals, same goals, and the majority of us seem to just can't be able to organize ourselves. I mean, we all got the same thing in common, but we seem to sort of like focus on different areas of the problem rather than just go for what's actually affecting us all, and then just join in that effort towards, getting over this problem.
Well, that's the thing. When you're looking for global solutions, is it really going to happen without it getting subverted? Is there such a thing as we are one, this collective consciousness, or is this all just new agey stuff written by them anyway? Because the mind's a very powerful tool, and I've had experiences, and they're not of the physical realm, but doesn't necessarily make it real. Or is there something much more to this physical realm? I know there is, really, truly. There's got to be more than just this skin and bone. I have emotions, and this seems to be an energy that resonates. Like if you, your thoughts are very powerful, and you can resonate hate on someone, and nothing can happen. You could sit there in a room and resonate hate on someone, you not even know them, and that person could probably like feel that from you. And the same with love. You could resonate love, and without actually saying anything, without actually knowing someone, and somebody could actually warm to you and bond to you. And this has been proved by experiments of water and sending resonance into the water and then looking at the structure of the water. And when you're putting love into it, it's a perfect pattern and beautiful. But when you're sending resonance of hate or fear or something along that lines, then it's a really distorted, horrible, mucky pattern. So I think the solutions come from within, not actually looking for one of these groups to find a remedy for us.
Oh no, I definitely agree with not sort of like relinquishing your destiny to someone or a group. What I meant was like, you know, that we all have something in common. We all want the same things from life, but the only thing that's causing divisions is ideals. People throwing many ideas, and people following different ideas, and then being divided unnecessarily when we're all striving for the same ideals in life.
Well, when you're saying we're all striving for the same ideals in life, then let's say that we all want peace.
Yeah.
Now, if we all want peace, including the military, you see where I'm going, yeah? So the military are actually in Iraq, Afghanistan, and places like this, and what they're effectively saying is they're peacekeeping. And I don't think by dropping bombs on other nations is really very peaceful at all.
No.
So even though we all do want the same thing, there's these elites that seem to have the control over the monetary system, the rules of the game, the military, the whole shebang. So for me, my own personal solution is just opt out of that system. But as I've said many times, how many people could seriously, truly operate without... Well, that's it. I think you do need help from other people. The system's there, created that way, so you have to rely on the system. And when you're relying on money and you need money to live, then you're missing out on life, because you need people, you need food, you need shelter, but you don't need these pieces of paper that actually create debt every time you use it.
But
they're just placeholders. But everyone thinks they're this glorious stuff. That's money, and all it is debt and just promise. It's not even. They're worthless. Sorry, my friends.
No, that's quite all right. The thing is, like when you, I'll keep going back to this all the time, because there's so many people out there that are trying to do a good thing, and when they see something to be a good thing, then they'll join up to that. Like, I don't know if you know about this One People's Public Trust at the moment. This information's gone viral very, very quickly. Nobody knew these people, these trustees, when, like, a year ago, 6 months ago, and then all of a sudden these names are popping out of everywhere, and it seems to be a good thing. But if you go and have a look online, people are actually putting up YouTube clips saying, this sounds like a really good thing. I don't fully understand it, but I've served my notice. I'm going to do it. I'm going to help them out. Hang on a minute, you've put all your details down on this form and you've sent it off, which is going to go to a government department. Now, let me ask you a question. Did you fill out a census? And they'll probably say no, because they don't trust the government. So they didn't fill out a census, but they're filling out this form from a group of people that they don't know and sending it to a government body because they're looking for a solution. Now, when you've got these big think tanks and social engineers that gather information, don't you think they know how many people are rebelling and how many people are rising up, and they want to control this and orchestrate it for their own gains?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, like for instance, the most obviously they will be monitoring like activities on the internet, Facebook, and all those sort of social networks will be closely monitored, so they'll probably know exactly who's doing what. But I still go back to my previous point that as long as people are comfortable, there will never be any action, because you look at people living comfortably, the last thing they want to do is upset the status quo, because to them life is perfect. They don't need to change anything. As you know, and that's because the middle class in the UK is quite a big one, and I really can't see, unless there's some sort of crisis that people lose their property on a mass scale, that there'll be some sort of changed in how they see how the system works.
Yeah, so I suppose we're all going to strive on to just keep looking for the solutions for our brothers and sisters, and that's the only thing we can truly do. I may as well at this point, I don't know why I say this actually, I'm going to give a few shouts out to people, and well, we found out why Psycho Driller wasn't on Sunday, but the guests, if they are going to book themselves in, it would be really lovely if they do turn up on the day that they're going to say they turn up. Otherwise, the research that I'm putting in, because what I do is I book people in, like we had Danny Wilton booked in for today, and now this guy has put out a phenomenal amount of information, and I've been trolling over his information and looking into it and looking at all this, writing stuff down here and there, and it's a couple of days of solid work. And then he contacts me like, well, I've been contacting him every day, and then like he says, oh, I had food poisoning, so I can't make it, I'm really ill. And it's like, okay, fair enough, you've got food poisoning, but that means I lost a guest and we didn't have anything planned for the show. But I posted a message about to a few people. Ceylon, who I think's absolutely great, he had an amazing story to come on with. And then like Danny Shine phoned me up soon as the show had started. Didn't actually know he had my number actually, but well, not on that number anyway. But it's great that a free radio like this can come out there and spread their own information. But at this point, as I said, I may as well let guys know who we've got planned to booked in on my Gregorian number catcher. And if you don't know what a Gregorian number catcher is, it's one of these fictional little books with a lot of numbers in and a lot of stuff that's related to different types of gods. It's like got Four's Day on it and things like that. So on Wednesday, I think that's Wednesday, we were supposed to have Danny Wilton, but on Sunday this week we've got Neil Sanders, who is going to talk all about NLP and subliminals and messages that are put across on the mainstream media. And that will be great information. Like most of the people listening do know that the mainstream media use all these techniques. So we'll have someone on to explain exactly how they do it and what they're doing to manipulate. Then on the Wednesday after, we've got John Bide, who will be talking about energy and devices to try and not use the system as much as it is. And then we've got a whistleblower by the name of Tony Farrell booked in on the Sunday after, on the 31st, who will be talking about all sorts of things like 7/7 and 9/11. Then we've got a guy called Freeman Burt from the States coming on Wednesday the 3rd of April. And then we're going to have a really good show on April the 7th. We've got Charlie Skelton. Charlie Skelton is a freelance journalist who has wrote some big stories in the mainstream press. But don't fear, the guy actually is one of the only journalists I've ever met that I can say I trust and I like, because he took some information from myself and a friend of mine, John Witterick from Get Out of Debt Free, and he managed to get it into The Guardian. So when it went into The Guardian, their legal team saw what we said, and I was saying about the birth certificate being Crown copyright, and that's what makes you liable to that corporate system. And he put everything that I said about the legal system, he put that in. But The Guardian didn't report anything. Do you want to join in? Now, the Guardian didn't actually put anything in the paper about what I was saying about Occupy being nothing more than a social engineering project with Tavistock's involvement and Common Purpose involvement, even though I had the proof there. And it was so obvious. But the mainstream media were part of the Occupy movement, so they're not going to go and bite their own hand that feeds them. And then Charlie, a few years ago, got arrested at the Bilderberg meetings. And he went to a Bilderberg meeting and he was reporting and he was like taking pictures, and he got chased down and arrested. And then I think his wife got arrested the year after, or a couple of years after that at a Bilderberg meeting too. So this is not a bad journalist. It seems to be somebody that's quite a good guy. But he's going to come on and he's going to explain quite a few things. And then after that, which is the 10th Wednesday, April 2013, we've got Michael Doherty coming on, who has been doing private prosecutions against the police. And that's been a long struggle for him over the past few months. So that's the guest list that's booked in. Whether we'll have these guests or whether we'll have to fly it by ear each time is another matter. But if anybody's got any points of view they want to throw across or any questions at the moment, please feel free to do so.
Hi, Dom. I'm back, mate.
All right, mate. Who's that, Vin?
Yeah, Vin Jones.
All right. Welcome, Vin, from the No State Project.
Hello there, mate. Hello, all. Sorry I've been away. I was a little bit busy. I'm doing up to my eyeballs in paperwork and everything myself at the moment. So I was listening to a bit of the show. I mean, I've got the story that Ceylon told. I mean, I'm not really surprised these people act this way, but yeah, I mean, it's becoming more and more blatant all the time now how these people are really operating, and it just goes to show that they just don't give a damn about putting a pretense up to make this look good anymore. And when you've got the police colluding with bailiffs on that level, it's things are getting really bad.
Yeah, and this is part of it. It's like, as I've said, the government, they're not ignorant about what we're doing, as we're not ignorant about what they're doing. But they have all these tools and charts where they know how many of us are actually finding all this stuff out. And that's why there's so many distractions online. There's so much disinformation, so many trolls.
Absolutely, yeah.
So many attacks coming from many, many angles. And obviously, this is an attack on our freedoms and being who we are, just live sentient beings. This is an attack on humanity. Why they do it is beyond me. I don't know why these elites want so much control when we can truly be.
Because it was too much. It would be too much effort for this not to have happened. That's why. It's like the Big Bang. Couldn't sit there doing nothing. It's too much effort. Too much effort for it to sit there doing nothing. So bang, off it went. And it's the same with human nature. It would be too much effort for human nature not to have had, not for us to have ended up in this situation. It had to have happened. It was going to happen one way or the other. And it's no surprise that at this point in history we are where we are and dealing with what we're dealing with. It was going to happen one way or the other. Is it really so outrageous that there's a group of people who want to take over the world and they're a bunch of lunatics? They're all, and that, a lot of them are religious fanatics as well. Religion is behind this, and we've got a group of people who have got their way into a position where they've got a monopoly of violence over the rest of the population and they want to rule the world. Is it really such an outrageous theory? No. Given human nature, it was going to happen one way or the other. And history has told us throughout our entire time on this earth, we've always lived under tyrannies. There's very few parts of the world that have either been free of government completely, or where there's not been a tyrant trying to control a certain area, a certain geographical area. It's always gone on.
Well, there's somebody that's come into the chat room and says, "Who is to say what is this space info?" Now, let's take an example. This info.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you take, for an example, you've got people out there, and I can't see how somebody could be so dedicated to hit nearly anybody on on movements. You know, I mean, I don't agree with the British Constitution Group, the Lawful Bank, the Occupy movement, OPPT, and things like this. I don't agree with any of them per se. But if there's somebody out there that is dedicated from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to sleep at discrediting absolutely anyone, that's called disinfo, because you're putting out some truths and then, like, within that, there's a load of crap. So people are, like, distracted by the disinfo. Now, there's a guy called Brian Allen Davis, and he calls himself Bada Bing, he calls himself Lex. He's got so many profiles, it's unreal. And then he'll sit there and he'll create YouTube videos. He'll sit there and just attack Brian Gerrish. He put a video up recently about saying Brian Gerrish supports paedophiles, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's not helping anyone, really. If you don't agree with it, go and hand out a solution rather than sit there attack.
Well, this is exactly what the opposition would do. It's called propaganda. They did it during the war, and we're still in a sort of war now.
Bada bing! You hit the nail on the head with propaganda. Well,
yeah.
You know who wrote the book Propaganda?
I did. Go on and remind me again.
Well, I'll leave that for a bit of homework, but I know, like, somebody will be posting it into the chat room at some point, and it's quite nice that you've actually mentioned propaganda, because it was created by somebody that we were talking about tonight, and I wonder how long it takes for the chat room to get this.
Charlie Veitch.
Oh, no. Charlie Veitch didn't write propaganda. Somebody's wrote it in there straight away, and he hasn't Googled it.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm surprised. Wow, I've actually discovered something Charlie didn't do.
Yeah, that's right. So 2 people have typed it into the chat room now. One's got it right on the spelling. It was Edward Bernays of the Tavistock Institute.
When was this book written then?
I'm not too sure of the year, to be honest. But I've got a copy of it. Yes, you can get free PDF of it if you just put into
what
Google.
I remember, it was, I believe, during the First World War, there was a book written about it, and it was to do with someone who's actually something to do with the SIS, I think. The information could be incorrect on that, but I think it was basically the British Secret Services wrote the book as such on propaganda. And obviously, during the First World War, obviously there was a huge propaganda machine going on between, on both sides. So a lot of what they use against us now was developed during the First World War. But even then, I mean, wars that have gone on across nations all over the planet
and what people do have to realise,
we've all used this stuff, these techniques. So.
And what people do have to realise with a war, they usually think there's at least 2 sides to a war, and there is at least 2 sides to a war. And the thing is, let's take World War II, and most people think it was generally Germany versus England.
Oh no, it was all over the world.
It was a world war, but like the 2 main parties at the start were Germany and England, but you had the same banking elites funding both sides. You also had them funding both sides, saying, look, there's that amount of money. Now you can pay us back with interest. Go and buy as much arms as you want. So each side still owes them the money, whether they win or lose. On top of that, they owe them interest. Now, the bank created this money in the first place out of thin air and goes, we're going to loan it to you, and we want interest back. So all the wars do is make a lot of debt for the banking elites, and debt equals control.
Absolutely. Have you ever seen that film called the called The Internationalist or something like that with Clive Owen?
No, can't say I have. I think somebody was just trying to come in then. Who wanted to chat then?
Sorry.
Was it Wonder?
Sorry, one day of war equals 100 days of peace and profit-wise.
Can you say that again?
One day of war equals 100 days of peace, profit-wise.
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's 100 times more profitable to have a day of war than a day of peace.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm. Yeah, there was a film that was made a few years back. Clive Owen starred in it, and I think it was called The Internationalist or something like that. I could be wrong. And there was a scene in it where a geezer was basically exposing a bank. The theme of the film was they would go, investigating a corrupt bank, and it was all about arms deals that were going on abroad and stuff. And what this bloke actually revealed during this scene, I mean, this was obviously made to take the piss out of us, but what he revealed during this scene is this is what the banks do. They sell out, they create a debt, they create a conflict, and then you lend money to both sides. And the one who wins is the bank, because now you've got them in your debt, you've got them under your control, and that's what it's all about. It's all to keep everybody a slave and to keep them in debt. And all the time they're in debt, you've got them under control. So, yeah. And there was a brilliant scene where the bloke, basically explained it that way. And, if ever you get to see that scene, it's probably on YouTube. If you look it up, I think it's called I've probably got that completely wrong, but I think it's something like The Internationalist or something like that. And,
it is The Internationalist. Prajna's just said in the
it is. Oh, right, okay. Oh, I thought I got that wrong. But, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll see that scene for themselves. And this is what they do in a lot of these films. They put scenes like that out just to take the mickey out of people and say, see, this is what we're doing to you. And they get off from doing things like that.
Well, the thing is, I watched Total Recall 2012 the other day. And that's really interesting because compared to the old Total Recall, it's got hints that it's like the old Total Recall, but the way they talk about mind control in it, and that's exactly what they're doing to get these dreams and the rest of it. But I only saw half of it, so if you have seen it, don't ruin it. I want to see the ending. But another film that I want to see desperately to see how the mainstream and Hollywood have really gone to town on the new Wizard of Oz. Have you heard about this one?
Oh, what, that new one with Rachel Weisz in and that? What's it called? Oz the Great and Powerful, something like that new film.
I can't remember what exactly it is, but it's
there's a new film they've made of it, yeah.
And it's supposed to be how the Great Wizard of Oz, or the little man behind the curtain, or AKA the bankers, rose to that position. And I really want to see that because the Wizard of Oz was written around the time of the 1933 Bankruptcy Act. And if you have a look at all the symbolism that is within the Wizard of Oz, it's shocking that you've got a gold road going to Oz. Oz is symbolising an ounce. She used to have silver slippers, and this is silver and gold going to the bank to go and see the little man behind the curtain. But they didn't know it was a little man. They thought he was a great wizard who was controlling the whole of Oz. But it wasn't. It was just a little man. He couldn't even give the straw man a brain. The only thing he could give him was a certificate. So I love the way they actually either manipulate stories and put it out there to make the subconscious think, oh, that's a load of hogwash. Or are these people actually writing it to say, come on, guys, wake up, something's going on around you? And I think the same about The Matrix.
Yeah, I think I read a book once on it regarding, all this propaganda that goes on, and it's termed as ritualized mockery. And it's the mockers, it's to take the piss. It's like this is right under your noses, people, and you're not seeing it.
Yeah,
and that's why they do it. They seem to get off on, because of the way we see these people act towards us and treat us. They get off on it. It's like little children having a giggle, having a laugh, watching someone, hurt themselves or trip over themselves while they're watching from afar, sort of thing. And that's sort of what we're dealing with. That's the sort of mindset we're dealing with these people. They just like to sit back and watch and laugh and abuse and what's the word for it?
There's a couple of things.
Like little children, they just like to sit back and watch, and watch us and call us idiots. I think it makes them feel better about themselves.
So somebody just tried to correct me in the room, saying The Wizard of Oz was written in 1900. I think, Dom. I think it was 1939 that the film came out. Yeah. And I think it was written in the early 30s or around 33, to be honest.
But the actual book?
Well, I think it was
the actual book was written in the early 1900s, yeah.
Was it? Well, yeah. But was it, like, the film was 1939, but the book, I think, was written in the early 1930s, not 1900s, was it?
Written early in that. It was early 1900s. I think it was yeah.
Okay, okay, I'll stand corrected on that. And somebody else has brought up, totally random, I don't know why he said it, but it's something that I actually am very intrigued by. I Pet Goat 2. If anybody's puts I Pet Goat 2 into YouTube, you'll find a little 7-minute, very well-made film. No speech in it at all, but very well-made, and a lot of symbology and a lot of messages, and nearly every religion and belief on the planet rolled into this one 7-minute, very well made, not a cartoon, an animation. And it's. Have you seen, any of you in the room seen I Pet Goat 2?
I think someone sent it to me once a few years ago, and I watched about a minute of it, couldn't be bothered, and turned it off. That's sweet now, I'm done with a lot of that stuff now.
Who said that? Somebody else said something?
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Don't you think that these people use Hollywood as a form of protection? Because, like, if you use like a film as a reference point of what's actually the reality of things, people look at you as if you're a nutter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's double think, and it's reverse psychology. Absolutely.
I'll tell you exactly.
Every tool of propaganda they use against us, they will, and that's exactly why they do it.
I'll tell you exactly what Hollywood is. I'll tell you exactly what Hollywood is. Now, Hollywood is a magical place, and what they're doing is they're casting spells. Now, it's a manifestation. It's thoughts. People watch this stuff, and when you're resonating it, it's coming about. Now, Hollywood. Have a look at the word Hollywood. Wizards used to make their wands from Hollywood, so that's what they're truly doing. They're casting these spells upon people, and we're manifesting out whatever they're putting out there. There's a lot of violence. There's a lot of competition. Everything to suck you into this matrix and make you be part of that system.
Mm-hmm. I mean, doesn't a lot of that stuff come from what's his name? That guru who's been doing this a few years now. I can't think of his name now. Big chap, got the glasses. There's a lot of the stuff he comes out with, and he's been spouting about the Illuminati and the secret societies and all that. I sailed this once.
Jordan Maxwell. Mm-hmm.
Paul Maxwell, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I heard him say all this about, apparently that's where it all comes from. That's why they call it Hollywood and all that. But then I've read and seen some other stuff where they claim, well, actually he's wrong. That isn't where it comes from. There's other meanings behind it and other explanations sort of thing. So I think Gordon Maxwell, in my eyes, I've seen stuff where he's been shown to contradict himself, and he's been shown to be basically lying about certain things. So I don't look at him as a credible source for a lot of this information that's out there. I think he's a government shield.
So, and the thing is, we can all be wrong at times, and this is because we'll have very strong beliefs that we think are true, and we go out.
You have to understand their dogmas, and you have to get past that. You have to be able to look past that, or you can never move on. You can never move on logically or use reason to get anywhere if you're going to let dogmas get in your way. I mean, same line today. I've got it recorded. I'll play this on the radio show, hopefully maybe Sunday. And I had a call from the TPT. I had an appeals hearing, one where they call you. And I had this woman, where I started bringing up the issue of the applicability of the law, the other side of presenting no facts proving, the Road Traffic Act is applicable. She started going off into one to me about, you denying that Parliament exists and all this, that, and the other. So I went to her, come on, and let's look at this factually. Tell me what Parliament is. Yeah. And she went, it's Parliament. These are the people who make the laws. So I said, okay, fair enough. So factually, it's a group of people. Would you agree with me on that? And she went, no, it's Parliament. I went, well, what's Parliament then? She went, well, it's Parliament, isn't it? And I said to her, well, that's circular reasoning. I can't get past that. I can't have a logical discussion with somebody who's going to be thinking like that. And like I say, she was stuck in the dogma. And it didn't matter what logic I could put forward. It wasn't going to get me anywhere because she was just stuck in this dogma, and that was it. That was the break on it. I couldn't have a rational, reasonable discussion with that woman any longer. It only lasted about 10 minutes, and I put the phone down, and I'd had enough of her at that point. But this is the thing, even people in the free man movement and the people who follow all the Dean Clifford stuff, they're stuck in a dogma and they can't get out of it.
That's
and it
right.
Doesn't matter how much reason and logic you can put forward to them, they won't let it go. And that's the break. You can never move on until you drop your dogmas, you drop your beliefs. It's one thing having a belief.
It's a quick question to both Vin and Dom. What's the difference between a free settler's status and a freeman?
A free what?
Free settler's status. If you were given free settler's status, is that the same as a freeman?
I haven't a clue. Never heard of that before.
Nor have I, but a free man
sounds political, whatever it is.
No, it was given. Go on, Dom, please.
Yeah, a free man is actually a legal term by the government, and you've got to go through procedures through the City of London and become a free man of the city. It's got nothing to do with like serving a notice of intent and a claim of right and putting your name as commonly known as this of the family that. Because as soon as you putting down the name, the first name and the surname, you're giving them all the details they know to find out you're prepared to be rebellious. So this is why I think the free man movement has been either orchestrated from the very start, and many people are doing stuff for the good to support this free man movement, because it does sound like a good thing to be honourable and stand on common law of just no harm, loss, fraud. And statutes and acts do actually require consent to be given the force of law. This is part of their fictional system that they have created and their body of rules to basically trick us and enslave us. And then the education system, basically by the government again, gave you a body of words to use and told you what they mean. And these words are such a lie. Like the biggest one is the person, which actually derived from the Greek word persona, which means mask. So they're using the word person in the sense of you and me, the living being, when it's so far from the truth, because you pick up a legal dictionary and it will tell you that a person is a corporation. So when you're looking at policed by consent, and how they get your consent is by saying, what is your name? So you give them the name on the birth certificate. Then you give them the date of birth, which gives joinder to that birth certificate. Then you give them a signature, and what that actually makes is a contract. So that's policed by consent. It's all done covertly. It's a little mind trick. They've been doing it for hundreds of years.
Well, then if it's a trick, it's not a valid contract, is it? I mean, at the end of the day, there's no facts to back any of that up. That's the theory. That's the opinion on what they're doing with the alleged mind games they've pulled on us. But there's no facts to actually back that up. And certainly in this day and age, I don't believe coppers or magistrates or a lot of these judges that we go in front of when all the we get dragged in front of them have any idea of any of this going on, be it true or not.
No, that's right.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, it is a very clever mind game they've played on us, and yeah, it's probably now been revealed. That's maybe how it was done in the past, and it's maybe something that they did and that's how they believe they've got control over us. But the truth of the matter is, they never gain control over us that way to begin with. Even if the people who created this nonsense, that's how they thought about it themselves at the same time. See how clever we are. We've got them believing they were persons and all that, and person bullshit. That's what they chose to believe. That's their little world, their little system. What the way they actually got control over us in reality, regardless of any of that, was violence. Period.
A big shout out to Anthony, who's just done a little bit of research off his own back there. Person, noun, etymology, 13C. So I'm guessing that's the 13th century. From French, persona. From Latin, persona, actor's mask. So I thought it was from Greek, but seems to be from Latin. But I thought it was from Greek. But there you go. So we've only got like 1 minute left, and then what have we got afterwards, Paul?
Reese is going to tape for us, I think. Hey, Reese, can you mute your microphone for us, sweetheart? Yeah. Thank you. You, Dom, you're doing it. I'm too tired to continue tonight, so I just thought I'd drop it in your lap. And we've got somebody calling in immediately, so we'll just carry on, mate. It's all great. Thank you.
Okay, great. So like afterwards, we're going to have like the same old usuals of call-ins. Anyone can have a rant and come in and speak your truth. This is what Darkcity's about. Paul set this up so people can come speak their truths, and I've seen Paul give many people a chance, and sometimes you get some really dishonourable, horrible people, and I know you're listening, Brian. We still love you. Anyway, that's Dom signing out for tonight, and the Dark City crew is carrying straight on. So I'm going to hand it over to either Dawn or Susan.